Hello all, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to cover some real-time scenario-based questions and also few generic questions for Azure Data Engineer interview. I am covering the data factory part for now. I'll include other questions as well in my upcoming videos. So let us go into our video. Yes, these are the questions which I am planning to cover for today. I have included two generic questions, two basic questions which we would get during interview. Uh, some of them will be like what type of data source have you worked on, what type of data you have been processing, or you have been doing ETL using data factory. So I would suggest for both of the types, try to do some POCs before you go for any interview. Okay, so let us go into the question. What type of data sources you have worked on? You can either work on on-prem database, Azure Blob, REST API, Azure SQL, or anything. Try to do some POCs on each of the types so that you can understand the complexities and you can be more confident in your interview. Okay, there are many data sources. There are many application level data source. Say you can have a Oracle application. You can directly take data from them, and you can. There are so many applications where you can make connectors. Azure Data Factory allows connectors to multiple applications and multiple data sources. I have just included the basic four of them. You can try to do your own POCs on all these four of them and try to implement some pipelines so that you can be confident in your interview. Okay, what type of going to the next question, what type of data have you processed during using data factory? So as everyone knows, we have structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data. Structured data is like tables, a relational table. Unstructured data are like flat files. You can have PDF files or image files or anything. And semi-structured data are like XML or JSON. Again, I would suggest you all, if you are preparing for an interview, try to do your own POC for each of the data type. We all should have practiced structured data, collecting data from a table and copying it into our data warehouse. Try to do POC for unstructured and semi-structured data as well. You can take a XML file and try to copy data from XML file to your Azure SQL or your Azure data warehouse or somewhere, because in semi-structured file there may be nested fields where you have to give a collection reference during your copy data activity, and and it is a little different compared to structured file copy data, right? So try to do some POCs on all the three types of data, on all the structured, semi-structured, and unstructured types, so that you can be more confident. Okay, going to the scenario based questions, right? So these are there are two basic questions which we get, which is very common. See, how to filter and copy table from on-prem database to Azure SQL using pipelines. Explain step by step is what usually sometimes interviewers would ask. When they are asking you to explain step by step, it is up to the developer in what way he wants to create the pipeline. Okay, some people create a link service, create a integration runtime, create a data set and include them inside a pipeline activity, or then you can just create a pipeline, and when you are creating activity and that time you can still create all these, but these should be created, right? Make sure you mention all these, like you should be having a linked service created for having the connection strings to make connections to the source data, and as well as to the target data, and creating a self-hosted integration runtime. This is mentioned as self-hosted integration runtime because the question is for on-prem database. And then we should have a data set created for source and target, and then we can create a pipeline and define activities to achieve our requirement. So our requirement is to filter and copy a table from on-prem database to Azure SQL. So when we have to filter, first we can go we can have a lookup activity to get the table information. You can then filter the tables which is required as per the condition. and then you can execute a copy data activity which is going to copy from the on-prem database to Azure SQL database. Okay, going to the next question, how to copy data from Azure Blob to Azure SQL using pipeline. So this also I have given explained step by step. It is the same thing for this as well, but here we are taking from Azure to Azure. So the integration runtime is going to be Azure integration runtime. Okay, so for this as well, we should have linked service created for both of our source and target database location, the data location. We should have a link service created, and as this is from Azure, we should have a Azure integration runtime created, and we should also have data sets created to be defined in our copy data activity, and then we can create pipeline and update activity. Coming to the point again, this can be done in any order as per the developer's approach. I am just mentioning the points which should be done. Okay, and for both of them, it is not necessary that we need to create link service every time. Say if you are having an on-prem database, on-prem server from which we are going to we are having multiple pipelines or something, there can be a single link service which can be used in the other activities as well. There is no requirement to create a link service each and every time you are creating a pipeline. The link service and the integration runtime can be defined at a time, and they can be used anytime or anytime as per the requirement inside your pipeline. Going to the next question. Okay, so the next one is create a pipeline to automatically delete files larger than 1 MB in Azure Blob. Okay, so I'm just giving an idea what can be done inside a pipeline. Okay, so inside a pipeline you can use a get metadata activity to find the files which are greater than 1 GB, and with the output of the get metadata activity you can use a for each activity with the files for iteration. See, in the for each activity you should be giving an input array, right? The input array will be the output of the get metadata activity. Okay, so the for each activity will have the input array as the files which are greater than 1 GB, and inside the for each activity you can set up a delete activity which is going to delete the files which are in the input array. So the question is to automatically delete files, right? So when you want to automatically delete files, maybe once in a month or something, if they want you to delete files which are greater than 1 GB, then you can have a trigger which is set up on top of the pipeline. You can have a scheduled trigger which is going to execute a pipeline as per the schedule. Okay, maybe every fifth of every month, if they want to execute the pipeline or if they want to automatically delete the larger file, you can have a scheduled trigger and you mention every month on fifth day the pipeline should get executed that way. Okay, going to the next question, create a pipeline to filter old files and delete them. So for this you can have a get metadata activity to find the created date, and on top of that you can have a if condition to filter the old one, and then inside the true condition you can give delete activity. This can be achieved through other methods as well. This is a easy one which I have marked. Okay, thanks for watching the video. If you have any question, please do put them on comments. I'll make sure to answer them. Thank you.